Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sandra Ogbonna. If you're new here, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking with me. So guys, today we're going to be talking about vital documents you need in preparation for your Canadian PR. Now, there are certain documents you would need ahead of your ITA, and once you get ITA, which is the invitation to apply, then you would also be required to get additional documents. In today's video, the focus on the documents you would need to prepare ahead of getting your ITA. First document you would need, in my opinion, is your birth certificate. Birth certificate for the primary applicant is very important, and then birth certificate for the dependents of the primary applicant, as well as the spouse or accompanying spouse of the primary applicant. Now, in Nigeria, if you do not have birth certificate, you can actually get an affidavit from the court, take that affidavit to your local government, and you'll be issued a government-issued birth certificate. Or you can also take that affidavit to National Population Commission, and you would also be issued a new birth certificate. Secondly, I would say it is marriage certificate now, or document evidencing that you're married to your spouse. This document has to be recognized and approved by your home country and approved or recognized by the Canadian government as well. What most people use is the government issued marriage certificate. So if you can get your hands on that, fantastic. The rationale behind actually getting these documents is to prove or show evidence that what you're saying is true. What you're saying about yourself or about the people that you might be migrating with is true. Now, proof is very important in this whole process. So that is the main reason why they are asking that you establish these documents, to prove that, number one, you are who you say you are by showing documents evidencing your identity. Thirdly, divorce certificates. Peradventure, you are divorced, you would need a divorce certificate. Many people have had hitches in the process of applying for their Canadian PR because they claimed they were divorced but did not show evidence that they were divorced. So you would need a divorce certificate showing that you're actually divorced. That means if you're immigrating with your kids, you would need consent letter from the other partner that he gives his consent to you moving to another country with the children. And I also know that many people have had hitches in their application because they were unable to show that the other partner had given consent to their immigrating with their kids. So that's very, very important. You want to prepare these documents ahead of time. You do not want to wait till the tail end or till when you are giving an ITA before you start running around looking for how to get these very vital documents. You want to start ahead of time. Now, after that, international passport. In Nigeria, getting an international passport is not as swift as it used to be. So you want to start early. You actually need to get your NIN before you can apply for a passport. So if you have your NIN but your children or dependents do not have their NIN, you need to get NIN for them ahead of you're applying for an international passport for them. If your documents are about to expire, for example, if your international passport is about to expire or that of your kids, please pay attention to that and renew those documents so that you do not have hitches in the course of your application. Very importantly, what you would need to be scanning and sending is the data page of your international passport. That is the page that includes your name, place of birth, your date of birth, the place where the passport was issued, the passport number, and all those details. That's the data page of the passport. Please pay attention to it. Please note that if you have traveled before, you would need to show evidence of the times that you traveled. That means visas have been stamped on your passport. Please keep old passports because you would need to show, if you're claiming that you've been in and out of the country at different times, you would need to show that, visas were issued and you actually went when you were supposed to go and you came back within the, time frame of your visa. The evidence of that would be contained in your passport. So please keep old passports as well. The next set of documents we'll be talking about will be your education credentials. Firstly, you have to show that you have a post-secondary school degree or certificate. This would be like a diploma or degree certificate. And if you are skilled or trained in a skill, you have to show evidence of being trained in that skill. Still in line with your education credentials, you have to do an ECA. An ECA is Educational Credential Assessment. IRCC has designated certain bodies that you must do your credential assessments with. I'll put the link for those designated credential organizations or bodies in the description box below to enable you look for the one specific to your degree or your certificate or certification. The next set of documents will be documents to prove that you have been employed. Now, you want to be able to show that you have had at least 1 year post-secondary school work employment or experience. Now, this means you have to have worked for 40 hours per week. That means probably 8 hours a day. All these have to be shown in the documents that you are using to prove that you have been employed. Now, they say at least 1 year, but to maximize your points, you have to show at least 3 years and above. This will get you more points. For proof of employment, documents you would need to prove employment are your employment letter, your reference letter, pay slips or pay stubs. Now, these documents must be on the company's letter-headed paper. That means it must contain the address of the company, it must contain the email address of the company, it must contain the web address if the company is online of the company. It must also contain contact address of the company. If someone wants to contact the company, they should be able to, and that contact should be on the letter-headed paper. Now, it should also contain when you started working. It should contain the duties that you were engaged in while you were working. It should also contain, salary you were paid or remuneration. So all these should be the details of these pay slips and reference letters that you would be evidencing. Now, the pay slips are very, very pivotal. That is to show that you were paid while working. So your pay slip should be evidencing how much you were paid, the duration of hours that you worked, monthly payments if you were paid monthly, or weekly if you're paid weekly, and all of that. Please note that all your documents need to be in English or in French, not in some other language. They must be in English language or in French. You also are required to write the IELTS exam, either the IELTS or the TEF, and it should be the IELTS general training and not academic. Please note that this is very important. Also, your documents which you scan should be the representation of the original version of your documents, not photocopy. Do not scan photocopies. People's applications have been stalled or they have been refused because they scanned the photocopy of their documents. And the reason for that refusal was that it is not a representation of the original document that you have. Please note that if you are actually evidencing that you have been trained in a skill, that training must be assessed. Whatever documents you're showing as a post-secondary school certificate or credential, it must be assessed by the right body needed to assess it. For example, by WES, which is the Western Education Services, or any other relevant body, which I will be putting in the description box below. These documents are very pivotal to, number one, you even writing an IELTS. Getting your NIN, for example, is so important to ensuring that you can get your international passport. Getting your international passport is very important to you even writing the IELTS exam. Writing an IELTS exam is very, very pivotal to you creating your express entry profile or even applying for your Canadian PR. So this brings me to the end of this video on the vital documents you need to apply for your Canadian PR. Look out for my next video, which will be on the vital documents you need post ITA. That is after you have gotten your invitation to apply for your permanent residency. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. All right, guys, until next time. Bye.